All right, so UFC 318 went down in New Orleans on Saturday night. And of course, by now, you know the results. I'm late to the party, but I do have some thoughts for you and some things to consider and my analysis to give. Of course, in the main event, we had Dustin Poirier in his final fight taking on Max Holloway. I thought that Dustin Poirier might get the job done, but I was concerned because Max Holloway, 155 pounds, is bigger, does hit harder, and can take a better shot. And as I said, going into this one, he's the younger man, and all the advantages that Dustin Poirier had going into the first two fights with Max, being the bigger, stronger, more experienced guy, that played against him. Now, Max Holloway went out and he looked phenomenal. The punch power is definitely increased at 155 pounds. Max Holloway has stopped plenty of people, but typically he wears them down with volume before he gets to finish. Well, in the first round, 1-2 drops Dustin Poirier, and it looked like it was going to be a quick, easy night for Max Holloway. Of course, Dustin Poirier, this is why everybody loves him. He never quits. He doesn't know the definition of that. He will fight as long as there is a heartbeat in his body. He will continue to give everything he has. In the second round, once again, Max Holloway catches him, starts teeing off, ripping to the body, looking sensational, looking like the best boxer in the UFC, brah, right? Like he said against Kelvin Kattar back in the day. But again, Dustin Poirier digs deep, clips Max Holloway, drops him to a knee, jumps the gilly in signature Dustin Poirier fashion. I'm so glad that he did that because he went out on his terms. He didn't change anything. He didn't play it safe. And could you have imagined if he got the guillotine, the first one in his career after jumping a gilly in almost every single fight? But this isn't a fairy tale scenario, okay? This is the real world. This is mixed martial arts, and that's not how it went down. At the end of the second round, Max Holloway looked worse for wear. Going back to his corner, he was kind of wobbled, he was stumbled, he definitely looked a little dazed and confused, and it looked like Dustin Poirier might have been able to turn things around. Rounds 3, 4, and 5, Max edged all the rounds. They were 10-9 rounds. They were close, but Max took them. That's a 10-9 round. When it's really close and one guy just edges it, that's a 10-9. When one guy clearly wins a round, that's a 10-8 round. That's not my opinion. That is a fact. That is what I was taught at a seminar by the Nevada State Athletic Commission. But even the judges forget about that. It was a great performance for Max Holloway, and Max Holloway just always full of class. Gets on the microphone and says, hey, that was great, but this isn't about me. This is about Dustin Poirier, and he gave us his moment.
You mother too soft for the baddest man alive, bro. Give it up for Dustin Poirier. Come on. Let's go.
Of course, we got that sensational send-off, that beautiful video package from the UFC. The crowd, the arena, they lost their minds. You could hardly hear the final clapper or the buzzer at the end of the rounds because the emotion and the noise from the crowd was just phenomenal. And that's because what Dustin Poirier evokes from the fans. He's a fan favorite. He always brings it. He's never turned down a fight. He's had some losses, but he's had some tremendous wins as well. He always shows up. The man's a class act. We're going to miss him lifting up his shorts mid-fight, spitting out blood in between rounds, just giving it everything he's got. Win or lose, you know you're in for something special with Dustin Poirier. Anytime his name was announced on a fight card, there was an aura, there was a buzz, there was a thrill because you're like, hold on a minute, it's Dustin Poirier. We're going to get something special. And that's what we got Saturday night. However, for him, it wasn't the fairy tale finish that he was looking for, but it was the end to a phenomenal career, and a career for which he will be remembered. He will be in the Hall of Fame. He is respected by everyone on the fight roster. He's a fight fan's favorite fighter, okay? He made his mark in this sport. He made a lot of money. He left it all inside the octagon, and he's going to go off and live a great life after fighting. Congrats to Dustin Poirier, and well done to Max Holloway. What's next for Max Holloway? Well, of course, he's one of the top dogs at lightweight. He's beat Dustin. He's beat Justin, but he just got knocked out against Ilia Topuria, so he isn't fighting for the belt anytime soon. Who does he fight? He has a rematch against Charles Oliveira. Of course, Charles just got knocked out in sensational fashion versus Ilia. Charles and Max fought a very long time ago, but the fight ended in a very anticlimactic fashion. It was an esophageal injury very early in the fight. Max Holloway's hand was raised, but it wasn't a proper win. He doesn't really feel like he beat him in a fight. And Charles Oliveira embodies the spirit of a BMF. You know he does, and you know what I'm talking about. So Max Holloway, Charles Oliveira for the BMF belt, and the winner of that, if it's Max, goes on to face Ilia Topuria if he gets through Paddy or Arman Saruki and just engage it, regardless of whoever it's going to be. me. Now, co-main event, we saw Paulo Costa turn back the clock and look like the Paulo Costa that signed with the UFC. Paulo Costa in his last few fights just didn't have the fire, didn't have the output, didn't have the intention and the nastiness that you need to win fights in the UFC. You got to go forward. You got to put a hurting on people. You got to beat them down. You got to be a nasty bastard inside there. That's what we saw from Paulo Costa Saturday night against Roman Kopylov. Kopilov's young. He's quick. He's got really good kickboxing. He's taller. He's longer. He's really fast. Costa went forward and he looked like the Paulo Costa of old that earned the title fight against Israel Adesanya. And he needed that. If he'd have lost that fight, I'm telling you, it might have been the end of the career for Paulo Costa. Certainly in big spotlights like co-main events on pay-per-views. It would have been on the prelims or whatever. And it would have just been a mental downfall because now you're just racking up loss after loss after loss. But that's not what happened. Boroshinya is back and he wants to get his hands on Khamzat Chimaev because he's sliding into his wife's DMs or his girlfriend's DMs and all the rest of it.
You know, my wife is over here. He DM her. And I will not stop until I get to you.
Khamzat came out and said, hold on a minute. It's her that messaged me first. So the plot thickens there. But I don't think he's going to get a title fight anytime soon. But if Khamzat Chimaev loses against Dricus du Plessis next month, you never know. They might just make that fight. Now, fight of the night for me was Daniel Rodriguez versus Kevin Holland. That was absolute madness from start to finish. Rodriguez usually starts very slowly. This time he went straight at Kevin Holland. Kevin Holland met him in the middle and it was just all out carnage for 15 minutes. Absolute madness, a lot of action. They were knocking each other down left, right and center. It looked like Kevin Holland was done in round one. Then it looked like Rodriguez was out on his feet, eats an uppercut, he's wobbled, he's all over the place, he gets dropped, he gets caught in the choke. And we know Kevin Holland with those long arms loves the high guillotine, right? But he was able to fight out of it. He took Rodriguez down with a clean takedown. Rodriguez gets back to his feet, wobbles him again, turns into a grappler.
Oh, you're a wrestler.
Hits full mount, looks really good, ends the fight on top, landing vicious ground and pound. 15 minutes of madness. And that's what we love. And that's what we expect from Kevin Holland. And that's what we got from Daniel Rodriguez. Big win for him there because Kevin Holland this year has looked phenomenal. Patricio Pitbull, once again, not enough action, not enough output. He was very lucky to get the decision. Yes, he got the win over Dan Ige, who's not an easy man to beat. And he did look good technically. He was able to take him down. We saw some beautiful takedowns, some nice transitions, some beautiful grappling. And we saw the power in the hands in the second round. However, he was lucky to get the decision because the first round could have gone either way. It really could, okay? Dan Ige was probably throwing more. Pitbull wasn't doing much, but he rocked him in the second. He had some takedowns. He had some control. He had a bit of ground and pound, and he's got the monkey off his back because he's got to win in the UFC. However, from here, the fights are only going to get harder. He got to win over Dan Ige, so it's going to be another tough opponent next. He's got to throw more. He has to have more output. And then, of course, opening up the pay-per-view, Michael Johnson, 39 years old, taking on the young buck, Daniel Zellhuber, ridiculously tall, ridiculously big for lightweight, 25 years old versus 39 years old. Michael Johnson has been wobbled and knocked out a few times. Of course, last time against Otman Azaitar, knocks him out in the first round, I think it was. Zellhuber talking a lot of coming into this one, discrediting him, saying that he's old, that he's going to show him, he's going to teach him a lesson. Well, Michael Johnson looked phenomenal. He was quick, he was powerful, he dropped him in the first round, he was putting together beautiful combinations, and he put the 25-year-old Daniel Zellhuber in his place. Zellhuber's only 25, he's a physical specimen, he'll learn from this, he'll gain valuable experience, and he will be back, and I think we'll see a lot more from Zellhuber in the future. And some standouts on the prelims as well, of course, Marvin Vettori got beaten by Brendan Allen. Brendan Allen went out there. Vettori's a really tough guy. I like him a lot. He's got a solid chin. There's no quitting the guy. Of course, he's been through some personal troubles. His brother passed away earlier this year in a fire in Italy, so he's got a lot of stuff to deal with there. Brendan Allen looked really good, kind of beat him up from start to finish, though. I don't like to say that. Atabi Abega Gautier from Manchester beat the shit out of Robert Valentin. It was a straight up assassination. 1 minute, 10 seconds. Walked him down, beat him down, smacked him around until the referee dragged him off. Beautiful performance there. Of course, Islam Dulatov got the job done as well. For a Versace model, this man can fight. Knocked out Adam Fugit in 4 minutes, 6 seconds in the very first round. A lot of stoppages on the prelim. Carla Judy stopped Nicole Cagliari in the third round. Bruno Ferreira defeated Jason McVeigh via armbar in the first round. Ryan Spann submitted submits Lucas Brzezinski in the first round. Jimmy Crute submits Marcin Prachnio in the first round. Islam Dulatov knocks out Fugit in the first round. Atabi Gautier knocks out Valentin in the first round as well. And then from there, they were all decisions. However, they were decisions, but there was a lot of drama, there was a lot of action, and of course the night belongs to Max Holloway. Congratulations, Max Holloway. And one more time, congratulations to Dustin Poirier. The man has had a legendary career. He's an awesome human being. There's never any controversy with this man. Just a great guy, an example to many young mixed martial artists out there. Enjoy your retirement, and thank you for everything that you brought to the octagon. Thank you for watching. Subscribe and ring the bell. See you soon.